You may remember hearing about that tragic wall collapse on a construction site last year that killed one person and injured others. Well, a lawsuit was recently filed in that case, and attorney Jim Higgins with the Higgins Firm recently stopped by to tell us what happened. Take a look. Jim, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
All right, this case really was just tragic. Tell us a little bit about it and the allegations.
Well, this was a story that you guys covered, and we saw at a lot of the news stations where a wall was being built, or there was a new construction site and a wall. Big gust of wind came along and it collapsed on some workers. It killed, I believe, two workers and injured some others. And it happened about a year ago. Just a really tragic case. And recently, a widow of one of the workers who was killed by that falling wall has filed a lawsuit. She's filed a lawsuit against the general and a couple of other contractors on the job, asking for $6 million for the loss of her husband.
So when something like this happens, there's got to be challenges for both sides. So what do you think those challenges would be?
Well, you know, when a tragic accident like this happens, where there's a loss of life, OSHA is going to come in. And they're going to examine this work site. And they did that in this case. So, and they found that the wall was not properly braced, that it should have had more braces than were there, and that's one of the reasons it fell. And it should have been kind of coordinated off or sectioned off while they were working on it.
Right.
So the contractor's going to have a problem because OSHA's already come in and said, hey, you did not do this right. The widow, or that person that lost her husband, she's going to have some challenges too. And we see this, we do a lot of construction accident cases, and what happens and what's going to happen in this case is everybody starts pointing fingers at each other. You know, this contractor will say, well, no, it wasn't our job to brace the wall. They've already said, I believe, that some of the braces were removed. They'll say somebody else must have done that. And so there's always a challenge to find out who was responsible for this. And, you know, we had a lot of tort reform legislation in the past few years which will limit the amount of damages that she can get. Even though she's sued for that much, we have a $750,000 cap for non-economic damages. So really hard to get that kind of money in a case like this in Tennessee.
Right, that makes sense. Now, if somebody out there finds himself with a work-related injury, what should they do? When should they call you? Is it important to call you early on? In
a case like this, where we think there's a third-party liability, yes, because you know a lot of time passes, and we need to find out what happened, who was there, get those witness statements, talk with OSHA, find out what they have discovered. You've got to lock down that evidence early. It's so hard for us to come into one of these cases a year and piece together an accident when everything's been repaired, all the evidence is gone. So yeah, if there's third-party liability, I would suggest they call our office as soon as it happens.
Right, and maybe good to point out too, to keep all those evidences, anything you have that could prove something in the case, keep those, right?
That's right.
All right, Jim, thanks so much.
Thank you.
The Higgins Firm is serving Tennessee. Give them a call at 615-924-8500 or check out higginsfirm.com.